Okay, welcome back. This is Let's Play Theresia, I guess kind of like the addendum, where we're going to go through the diary, which is what you get if you've collected all of the journal entries in the game, which I did. So this is the diary. Stop crying, child. Child, you are now. Child, my daughter. I remember the moment when someone grabbed my leg and yanked me out of the rubble. Suddenly, there was light. It was so bright. As my eyes adjusted to the light, I saw a woman with pale skin, drenched in blood. I still remember it clearly, the smell of blood and my mother's face. That was when I was born. I was born into a country at war. The war took my real parents when I was only a year old. A tiny creature that could barely speak. A helpless child who couldn't do anything without her parents. I was left behind, buried under rubble in the ruins of a small town, waiting to die. That was when the slight woman with pale skin dragged me out of the rubble. She was my mother, the head of the torture division for a mercenary unit from the enemy nation, Emile Theresia. The village I lived in was under the control of the enemy nation, and my mother belonged to the mercenary unit that had jurisdiction over my village. The mercenaries had taught my mother the ways of torture her whole life. She had no siblings, no friends. All she did, every day, was hurt people, physically and emotionally. That was the only life my mother, Emile, was given. With none of the love or care a normal child might receive, my mother never learned to feel pain when she tortured others. Instead, she found that her work gave her a certain kind of joy, despite her young age. Contrary to her young, frail appearance, she was so cold-blooded that people began to call her the devil. When the rumor began to circulate that the devil had brought home a child, people were shocked. That brute adopted a child. Has she lost her mind for real now? Well, they do say every woman has maternal instincts. My mother took me to a church on the outskirts of the village and officially made me her daughter. I remember the church. It was in the middle of a field, watched over by a quiet priest with long hair. My mother visited the church with me in her arms. The priest said nothing, just looked at us, sadly. Please give that child a name. And please say a prayer. Pray for the child's divine protection. I remember that Mother's arms were very warm. The church had a basement. It was built long ago, before the priest was even born, as a prison for sinners. It was more than a place to pay for your crimes, it was a place to pray. Some sinners felt uncomfortable under the sun and went there of their own free will. They would come to the church every day and pray for forgiveness. Even though the subterranean prison was rank with the smell of blood, to the sinners it was a sanctuary. But time passed. Eventually war came to our country, and the church fell under enemy control. The basement prison had become a military base, and its purpose had changed. Mother gave me the name Leanne. Mother worked and lived as a torturer in the underground base. Whenever she had time off work, Mother would come to the church to visit me. She would stand in front of the altar with me in her arms and stroke my head while she sang me to sleep with a strange lullaby. A field with sparse red flowers, the smell of dirt and flowers, the soft wind, the warm sunlight, bright lights, the strange singing voice, and the constant smell of blood that always followed my mother. These were the things that made me feel safe when I was a child. Whenever Mother visited me at the church, she never let me out of her sight. To other people, it looked more like some kind of obsession than motherly love. And in fact, as I matured, Mother became more and more insistent that I never leave her side during her visits. As I grew older and learned to walk, Mother forbid me to come in contact with other people. I wasn't allowed to go outside. I could only speak to Mother. "You are my daughter, forever. This bond is only for you and me." Whenever Mother held me, I could smell the stench of blood all over her. She spoke to me in a stern tone. "You must not speak with anyone other than me. You must not leave your room when you are alone, because you are my daughter." Once she had made me promise, she gave me a key. It was a strange key with the tip broken off. An oddly shaped, blood-stained key that probably didn't work. As she handed me the key, she looked me in the eye and said, "Keep this key with you. This is your key. From now on, you will have no relationships with anyone except me." It was a symbol of my confinement. Okay, and I'm going to cut the video here because we're already at 8 minutes and I'm not going to finish it. And then in the next video, hopefully we'll get through the rest of it. Thank you for watching.